Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on March 23rd, 2019. If you'd like to get my game, Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 10, 14, 50, 53, and 63. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors these were. Okay, so you can see that the 10 was orange. The 14 was orange. The 50 was green. The 53 was red. And the 63 was green. Okay, so I'm going to color these in. Again, the 10 and the 14 were orange. The 50 and the 63 were green. And the 53 was red. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many colors I have. I have 2 orange, 2 green, and a red for 3 colors total. Okay, so now I'm going to go up and fill in how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And now I'm up to 316. Okay, and now a 3 color combination has come up 172 times. Okay, so if you do some quick math and you divide 172 into 316, you can see that a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge, because when I play this long term, if I keep on just picking a 3 color combination, statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to make a new game card here. So I'm going to eliminate all these colors. Okay, so I'm going to start in filling this out with red numbers, and my color code is right here. Okay, so you can see that the last 3 drawings are red numbers. And then after that, it's orange, and then green, blue, and then the rest are purple. Okay? So basically what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers and I divided it by 5 different colors, and that's one color for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay? And that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible. Okay? Or a good representation of each color. Okay, so I'm going to start to fill this in, and I'm going to start with the 10, and then the 14, 50, 53, 63. Okay, and then the 30, 34, 39, 53, which is taken, 67, and then the 18, 36, 45, 47, and 69. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many I have here. So I got 3 and 2 are 5, and 5 are 10, and 4 is 14. So I'm going to leave that alone right there and keep it at 14. Okay, so why I just do the last 3 drawings of red numbers is because that will give me a maximum of 15 numbers total. Okay, so again, my goal is to get as close to as 13, 14 numbers as possible for each color. Okay, so we're starting off pretty good with the red. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the orange. And I'm going to start with the number 5. 5, 6, 45, which is taken. 55, 59, 6, which is taken, 10 is taken, 21, 35, 46. Then the next one is 1, 19, 25, 27, and 68. And the last row is 21, which is taken, 31, 42, 49, and 59, which is taken. So again, I'm going to make those orange. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So I got 2, and 2 is 4, 4 is 8, 10, and 5 is 15. So I'm going to make this 15. Okay? So the reason why I have more orange than red is because once I start filling in this card, the game card, I need more of each color to get up to that 13 or 14 mark. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the green. I'm going to start with the 4. The 6 is taken. The 14 taken. The 20, 32. 27 is taken. 49 is taken. 50 is taken. 51, 52. The 29, 30 is taken. 41, 48, 64. And then the 2, 8. 14 is taken, 24. 69 is taken. And then the 1, 2, 3, 7. 39 is taken. And then the last row is 5, 13, 28, 38, and 63, which is taken. Okay, so I'm going to make these green numbers. And I'll count how many I have. So I got 1, and 3 is 4, 6, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 green numbers. Okay, so that's a little bit more than I want. I want 13 or 14, but this is the thing. This color code is kind of set in stone. Okay, so even though I have more green than I want, I just can't take these numbers out and make it blue now. Okay, so this is set in stone, and basically what happens is this works out at like a caterpillar, where this 10 will keep on moving its way down, and it will work its way out to having a pretty good ratio of numbers per color. Okay, so I think you get the gist of things, of how I do things. Okay, how I came up with this color system. And now I'm going to scroll to the right just to speed things up a little bit. And this is what the game card looks like for March 23rd, 2019. So I got 14 red numbers, 15 orange, 17 green, 14 blue, and 9 purple. Okay, so when basically what this is that when a number comes up, I consider that hot numbers. Okay, and then as it goes down, it gets warm, then cool, then cold, and then when you see a purple number, it's freezing. So when you see a purple number, it means that this hasn't come up in at least 23 drawings. Okay, so again, I think that it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me do that, I'm going to turn to this color code and say how a 3-color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, so if a 3-color combination is coming up, then that means at least 2 colors are not coming up, and that's what I want to focus on. Okay, so I want to pick what color I don't think is going to come up. Okay, and for me, I don't think any green numbers are going to come up. Okay, and the reason why is because a green number has come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 drawings now. Okay, so you can see there wasn't a green one here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to eliminate all the green numbers. Okay, so last drawing, you can see that no purple or blue numbers came up. Okay, so if you would have picked one of those, and I just recommend picking one. Okay, so if you said no purple numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, you could have gotten rid of those. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do here is I got the game card for the 20th, last drawing, okay, and then for this drawing is the 23rd. So again, last drawing, if you could have picked no purple numbers, you could have eliminated those. Whoops. And gave yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize, okay? So let me eliminate those. Okay, so again, you can see that the winning numbers were 10, 14, 50, 53, and 63. And you can see that those are still on the board. The 10, 14, 50, 53, and 63. Okay, so that's the thing. So hopefully I'll be correct in picking that no green numbers are going to come up. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate these green numbers off of my game card. Okay, so the thing is that we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, okay? You may look at this and say, no, I think a couple of green numbers are going to come up because there's 17 of them on the game card, okay? Probably has the best chance of hitting, but for me, having that hit 14 drawings in a row, I just think that the ebb and flow of things is that the green is going to miss, okay? So if I block out a number like this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So in other words, what I'm doing is I'm taking $3 and I'm buying a ticket with that. So I'm betting $3 that none of these green numbers will come up, okay? And if I'm correct with my pick, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 2, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so that means there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the upcoming majority will be, okay? So here's, for this drawing, for this last drawing, I'm now up to 361 drawings that I kept track of, and that goes back to October 15th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, so again, the winning Powerball numbers were the 10, 14, 50, 53, and 63. So you can see that there was 3 even numbers and 2 odd. Okay, so I'm going to make this 2 odd numbers and 3 even. So the evens had the majority, so I'm going to make this 170 now. Okay, so out of 361 drawings, 170 drawings have come up in the majority of even numbers, okay? 191 drawings have come up the majority of odd numbers so far, okay? So here, I like to keep track of every 5 drawings. And again, I do that because I want to see what the majority was, okay? So out of this 5, you can see the majority of odd numbers came up 4 drawings to 1, okay? And as I go back through the history of times, the history here, you can see that odds have come up. Let's see, 5, 10, 15. This is another reason why I break it down into 5. It's easier to count. So I got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay, so out of the last 50 drawings, 40 of them have been the majority of odd numbers. Okay, so I think that that's going to turn around here. So I'm going to think that more even numbers are going to come up than odds, okay? So you might think that it's going to continue on the odd thing here, okay? So if you do that, then pick odds. But for me, I think the majority is going to be even, so I'm going to write that down. Okay, so I'm going to write down evens. Okay, and for the next one, again, the numbers were 10, 14, 50, 53, and 63. Okay, so the majority was to the high side. Okay, 3 to 2. So I'm going to write this down as 183 now. Okay, so you can see that the low was way behind here, or not that far behind, but it's behind. And you can see that high has come up in the last 4 drawings. Okay, so the majority of numbers have been to this red side here. Okay, so the thing is that, again, it's not exactly 50-50 because there's 69 numbers total, but it's pretty close enough for me. Okay, so if you were to try to flip a quarter, okay, and you wanted it to land heads 5 times in a row, you know, if you do this at home, you can see that it's pretty hard to get a quarter to land on its heads or tails 5 times in a row or 10 times in a row, or, you know, so here you can see that the majority has been high 4 times in a row, so I just think that it's going to be to the low side. Okay, so I think at least 3 of the numbers are going to be to this blue area here. Okay, so I'm going to write that down as low. Okay, and moving on to the next one. Here, this is left and right, and you can see that I already filled this in, and the majority was to the right side, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now. Okay, and you can see how many times it's been to the right: 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, so at some point I think it's gonna be more to the left for a little while here. Okay, so since it's been 5 times, I'm going to guess that the majority of the numbers are going to go to the left side in this next drawing. Okay, so I'm going to write that down as well. Okay, so going back, I got one more, and this is the 55th. This is red and blue, I mean. So here, this is it's pretty hard to guess what the majority will be. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this alone. I don't have to pick them all. Okay, that's why I gave myself so many options here. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this one alone. But I'll show it to you in case you have a guess here. Okay. So again, I'm going to go back to the game card. And what I like to do is get you involved with this. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is draw out the game card. Okay. So pause the video, go grab some paper, just kind of scribble this out real quick. You don't even have to put in the numbers. Okay. Just make the squares. Okay, so you got 4 squares of 16 numbers, and then 5 squares out here to the side. Okay, so if you decide to do that, and you decide to go with no green numbers like I have, this is how your game card should look. Okay, so I want you to X out the numbers that you don't think are going to come up. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go back to the game card here. Now I'm going to go off to the next strategy. Okay, so the next strategy is strategy number 3, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so again, there's 69 white ball numbers. Okay. And basically what I did is I took those numbers and I divided it into 7 different groups. Okay, so the first group has the numbers of 1 through 9. That's the only group with 9 numbers. And then it's the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Okay, again, for 7 groups total. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so this is where the 50-50 picks come in again, because I said that I thought it was going to have more numbers to the low side than the high side. Okay, so the high side starts at 33 here. Okay, and there's a couple of numbers to the low area, and that's the 66, the 65, and the 67. Okay, so again, I think the majority of the numbers are going to be, to this side over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guess that no 40 numbers are going to come up. Okay, so as you're looking at this big square right here, this is good for 5 drawings. Okay, and the reason why I do that is for a couple reasons. That as I go down, I can count quicker, 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, but my theory is that if there's a bunch of numbers within this 5 drawings, if there's a bunch of hits, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay, so you can see in this last 10 drawings, the 40s have been pretty hot here. Okay, so I think it's just going to cool down a little bit, and I'm going to say that no 40 numbers are going to come up. Okay, so as I move over, here's the numbers. Let me blow this back up. Okay, so again, it was the 10, 14, 50, 53, and 63. Okay, so as you follow this over, you can see that I marked the 10 with an orange, and I marked it orange because that's what the color code was. Okay, so there's a couple ways that I could use this. Okay, so I could just highlight the 10, and now I could go down into the history of things. And since it's a red number now, I could go down and see how many times it was red. Okay. Now, if it hasn't been red in a little while, like it hasn't, then maybe the 10 will be coming up here pretty soon. Okay. So that's one way to use my game. Okay. So again, it was the 10 and 14. You can see that the 10 and 14 are in this group, the teen group here. Okay. I call it the teen group, even though the 10, 11, and 12 is in here. You can see that there's 2 numbers in here. Okay. And then it was the 50, 53. So you can see that the 50 and 53 are in this group as well, and then the 63 over here. So that's a total of 3 groups that were hit in the last drawing. Okay, so I'm going to write a 3 here. Okay. So going down through the history, you can see that a 4 comes up the most, and then a 3 is a close second. A 5 comes up every once in a while. A 2 will come up every once in a blue moon. And I never seen a 1. I never seen all 5 winning Powerball numbers in one of these groups like the teens. Okay, haven't seen that yet. I'm sure it will come up eventually, but it hasn't come up yet. Okay, so again, the strategy is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so last drawing, if you could have picked that 1 through 9 numbers were going to come up, you could have eliminated those numbers and gave yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with the last drawing. I'm going to get rid of these numbers of 1 through 9. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to say that no 40 numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to get rid of the 40 numbers here. Okay, so just like over here where you can see that the winning numbers are still on the game card, 10, 14, 50, 53, and 63. I'm hoping that that's going to be the same way with this drawing. I hope that I eliminated the correct numbers so far, and the 5 white winning Powerball numbers are still left here on the game card. Okay, so moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers, okay? So basically what I did is I took all the numbers and I divided it into 4 different groups, and I put colors to these groups, okay? So when the 5 white winning Powerballs come up, I record where they land among these groups here, okay? So again, the winning numbers were the 10, that's in the red, 14 in the blue, 50 in the orange, 53 in the green, and 63 in the green. Okay, so I'm going to write that in. 1 in the red, 1 in the blue, 1 in the orange, and 2 in the green. Okay, when that happens, I color the background red for hot. Okay? And when it hits all four colors like this, I call this a row. Okay, so last drawing for this option card number 1 was a row. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards here. And they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this option card number 2, and I'm going to fill this in. So again, it was 10 red, 14 orange, 50 red, 53 orange, and 63 green. Okay, so there's no red. I'm sorry, there was 2 red, there was no blue, there's 2 orange, and 1 green. Okay, so I'm going to color these in. Okay, so when a 0 comes up, I color it blue for cold. And now I'm going to make this 86. So this tells me that there was 86 blue marks in this column here. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to come up. Because if I could have correctly guessed that none of these blue numbers are going to come up, I could have eliminated all these numbers and gave myself a much better chance at getting some kind of prize. Okay, so I'm going to start off with option card number 1. And again, this is where the 50-50 picks come in. Okay, so again, I wanted more evens, more to the low, and more to the left. Okay, so as I look at this, I want you to envision, these are my picks, of course. You could pick something else, but I think at least 3 of the numbers are going to be over on this side and 2 of the numbers over here, okay? I also think there's going to be more numbers to the low area than the high, okay? So at least 3 numbers down here and 2 numbers here, okay? So basically what I'm looking at is that I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up, okay? So when there's 2 rows like this, like 80% of the time, it gets followed by a 0 at one of these color groups, okay? So I'm going to pick that it's going to be green. So I don't think any of these green numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate those green numbers off of this drawing card. Okay, so last drawing, if you could have said that no green numbers were going to come up. Whoops, I'm sorry, no blue numbers were going to come up in this. I'm sorry, no blue and orange, okay? So you can see the 2 zeros there. If you could have guessed that both blue and orange weren't going to come up, you could have eliminated all these numbers here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Again, this is the last drawing. So if I could have correctly guessed that, I could have eliminated all these numbers. And again, gave myself a huge advantage over having something that doesn't give me any kind of advantage. Okay, so moving on here. Okay, for me, another one that I'm going to pick is green number 14. Okay, so I'll show you all these things here in a second. But for me, I'm going to go with this one because it's been 18 drawings in a row. And I kind of think that there's a lot of green areas that are going to be missed. Okay, so I'm not sure about this orange one here. This one could go as well. But I'm just going to say that the green is. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate the 1, 12, 17 pattern off of each of these 4 squares here. Okay, so as I go back, again, it's for this drawing, so I'm going to go with the 1, 12, 17, 28, the 1, 12, 17, 28, 12, 17, nothing there. So Okay, so again, hopefully I made all the correct picks. And the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers are still left here on the game card. Okay, so moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, but before I do that, I'm sorry about that. I'm going to give you a chance to look at things and make a decision on what numbers are not going to come up. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is, again, you can see that all these option cards have the same colors: red, blue, orange, green. Okay. Again, it's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other. Okay. So I want you to keep track of, excuse me. I want you to keep track of just the blue ones here. Okay, so you can see that there's a 0 here. Okay, so I just want you to count the zeros in the blue area. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're still holding at 3. Okay, and that was it. So you can see that in the blue areas there was 3 zeros there. Okay, so you can see in the orange area there was 6 zeros. Okay, and you can see that it's a different background color. Okay, so how I do things is that I said if a third of these option cards have a 0 to it, I'm gonna put a blue mark behind it. Okay, so this gives me some kind of separation here. So if there's 4 or less zeros among all these 15 option cards in the blue area, I'm gonna color it a red background for hot. Okay, a blue background for cold if there's 5 or more zeros. Okay, so again, here we are with the orange. We'll see, I count the zeros out. Okay, so there's 1. There's another 1, 2. Okay, so I think you get the gist of things of how I'm doing things. Okay, so the key thing is to correctly guess when a blue mark is going to come up. Okay, so I have a feeling a blue mark is going to be in this green area here. Okay, so I'm expecting at least 5 of these option cards to have a 0 here in this green, the green areas of this option card. Okay, so I'm not sure which ones, so I'm only gonna pick 2 of them. Okay, I'm gonna pick the number 1 option card, and I'm gonna pick the number 14 option card in the green area. Okay, so hopefully those will have the zeros to it. And now I'm going to start at number 1 for you. Okay, so again, this is where the 50-50 picks come in again. Okay, so again, if you think like me that the majority is going to be to the left side, then there's only going to be 2 numbers over here to the right side. Okay, same way here. So maybe there'll be no green numbers right here if the majority's over here, but I don't want to take that guess. And same with over here. I think the majority of the numbers, at least 3 of them, are going to be up here. So that means only 2 numbers will be on this side, the high side. Okay. And then with this number 4, I haven't seen a row in a while. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drawings since I've seen a row. So maybe that's due to happen. Or maybe this green will not come up. Okay, you got 3 rows in a row. When that happens, usually there's a 0 somewhere. Again, I think the majority of the numbers are going to be over here, and I think that there's going to be lots of zeros among this green area, so maybe this green won't be coming up. Okay, so again, I think the majority of the numbers are going to be up here. So I think there might be a 0 at this green area. So be getting rid of all these green possibly. Okay. But the thing is, I think there's going to be more even numbers than odds. So you can see that this is all even numbers here. So that's a tough one to pick. Okay, so moving on. Here you have you have all 4 colors in each of the 4 blocks here. Okay, and they're all even. I got 2 even numbers and 2 odd in the green, 2 even in the blue, 2 odd in the blue, and so on. Okay. So this is where I kind of look down here to see what's going on. And you can see that these zeros, they double up or triple up every now and again. And with this orange area, I got a bunch of single ones. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 single zeros before it doubled up again. So maybe this might be a good pick for you to get rid of these orange numbers. Okay, so moving on. Again, this is the same thing where I got an even number of colors here, including odd and even. Okay, here's an odd, even, even. Okay, and that goes for all 4 colors. So when that happens, that doesn't help me with picking numbers from left or right or high and low. But down here, when I see something that has a really long streak, then maybe there'll be a couple of zeros coming up because this has had so many hits to it. Okay, maybe a bunch of misses are on its way. Okay, so moving on. Again, this is the same thing as I got 2 evens, then 2 odds for all 4 colors. So this is basically where I go down and I say, well, maybe this could be another row. Okay. So when that happens, I want all 4 of these colors to be represented of the 5 winning Powerball numbers that I pick. Okay. So moving on to 10. Okay, so this is the same thing. I got 2 evens, 2 odds in the red, red, blue, orange, green for all 4 blocks here. Okay, so which one is going to miss? I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen a row, so maybe a row will be coming up. Okay, moving on to 11. Here you can see that it's either going to be, well, I want more numbers to the low side here, at least 3 of them, and 2 to the high. So this could be a chance where a row could be coming up as well. Or maybe this blue might be missing. I don't know. Some of these option cards, they don't help me out at all. So that's why I've made so many. Okay, so when I don't see anything on this 11, it's like, well, okay, I'll just move on to number 12 and see if number 12 will help me. Okay, so I can see that over here to the left side with this blue, I don't think that many numbers are going to be in this corner here. Okay, so maybe this blue might have the 0 right here. Okay, because I think the majority of the numbers are going to be over here to the left side and the low side here. Okay, number 13, again, I'm concentrating over here on the right side, okay? And it could be a 0 right here at this green because I think there's going to be a lot of misses in the green section, okay? Okay, moving on to the next one, 14. You at home may want to go with this orange, okay? Again, it's been 23 drawings in a row. Whenever it hits 20, that's like an automatic for me to start thinking that this is going to miss. But for some reason, I just think it's going to be the green, and this is going to go on to 24 in a row. But who knows? So make a decision and pick. And the last one here, again, I have an even numbers of even and odd for all four colors, okay? So this is where I go back down and see if there's something that I see here in the streaks, okay? So a 1 comes up a lot, okay? You can see a 1 here, 1 here, 1, 1, 1, 1, okay? You can see a 1 comes up a lot, so maybe this blue one might have a 0 right here, okay? You might want to get rid of these blue numbers. Okay, and that's it for this group 1. Again, there's 15 option cards, and the last drawing had a total of 11 blue marks to it of all 15 option cards. So there's usually always plenty of zeros to choose from. It's just hard to choose from. You know, you have 15 option cards by 4 options, so that's 60 options that you have to guess where that 0 is going to be, okay? And again, last drawing had 11 zeros. Before that, it was 12. Okay, so when I see these single digits like this, I mean not single, but low 11, 12, 13, 12, 12, you know, not a 20 or 17 or whatever, then I think that one of those higher numbers are going to hit, like a 17, 18, 19, or 20. And when that happens, usually half of the game card gets taken away, okay? So maybe for this drawing, maybe all the numbers will be over here to the left side. Or maybe they'll all be over here to the high side, okay? Or something like that. And that will bring those 0 counts up to that 18, 19, 20 mark, which I think it's going to hit pretty soon, okay? Okay, so moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers, okay? So much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different colored groups, okay? So again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 3 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these colored groups will not have a winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is, again, the numbers that came up were the 10 blue, 14 brown, 50 blue, 53 purple, and 63 gray, okay? So that gives me 2 blue, a brown, a purple, brown, and gray. So 2 blue, purple, brown, and gray. Now, here I have 15 of these option cards as well. So there's option card number 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And they all have the same colors to it as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow, okay? Much like my group 1 numbers. So I like to read things left to right, okay? So I got 2 blue, 1 purple, 1 brown, 1 gray, okay? So I'm going to go down and put those in. So here in the red area, I had no winning numbers there. 2 blue. No orange, no green. 1 purple, 1 brown, 1 gray, no yellow. So how many groups did I hit? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. Okay, and where's the majority? The majority is here to the right side, so I colored this 4 green, okay? If the majority was to the left side, I would have colored it red, okay? And the reason why I do that is because I'm looking for any kind of advantage as possible, okay? So if I see a bunch of red in here, well, I know that it's going to be green eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? So maybe it's going to start turning to red here, okay? Which means that the majority of the numbers will be over here to the left side, right? Correct? So that means at least 2 of these groups over here will have a 0 to it, okay? So which one? You know, right now, I'm looking at this purple, okay? I'm thinking that a 0 could be right here. Will it? Who knows, okay? It's all a guess. Okay, so last drawing, if you could have correctly guessed that no red numbers were going to come up, you could have eliminated these red numbers and gave yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So last drawing, I'm going to eliminate those red numbers. And that includes this 25 here, okay? So let me explain this for a second. Because you can see on the game card, you can see these 5 numbers over here to the left. And then when I go to group 2, you can see that there's no numbers here over here. So what I call this is sharing a square, where the 25 and the 65 share this square, okay? So if I get rid of all these red areas, I'm going to get rid of the 1, 9, 17, 25, 33, 41, 49, and 57, and the 65 as a group, okay? So that's what I'm doing as far as putting these groups of numbers together, okay? So if there's a 0 here, then that means none of these 9 numbers came up. And that's what I'm hoping for this drawing. Well, that's what happened last drawing. I'm hoping none of these purple numbers will come up for me, okay? So how this works is down here in the stats, you can see that I like to keep track of every 5 drawings, okay? And the reason why I do that is because I want to see the majority of things, okay? So you can see that there's 3 zeros here, okay? So the majority is misses, so when that happens, I color the background blue for cold. Here you can see that the majority was hits, 3 hits, okay? So I color the background red for hot, okay? So I know that the lottery is random. We all know that, right? And this is what random looks like, okay? So when I see something like here where it's been really, really hot, well, I know it's going to turn cold eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? So here over here in the purple, you can see that it's been really hot, and now I think the 0 is going to be right here, okay? Hopefully that's what's going to happen, and what I'm going to do is eliminate these purple numbers off of this drawing here, which obviously I already did, okay? Or they're already gone. So for you, I want you to look at this and make a decision for yourself, because, again, we're all going to look at this differently, okay? So you may look at this and say, well, this has been pretty cold over here, and I think it's going to stay cold, you know? It's up to you, all right? So make a decision on where you think a 0 will be. Again, there's going to be 3 of them, okay? On average, you can see all the 4s here, okay? So that means 4 of these groups had a hit, 4 of these had a miss, okay? So you have a 50-50 guess, okay, on average. Okay, so just pick one and move on to the next option card, okay? Like I'm just going to pick this 0 at the purple, and now I'm going to move on to option card number 2, okay? So choose where you think a 0 is going to be, and then eliminate those group of numbers off of your game card. Okay? Pause the video if you need to, all right? And moving on to option card number 2. Okay, last drawing. If you said no red numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct. And you could have gotten rid of all these red numbers and gave yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. So as I go back to the last drawing, you can see that there's nothing here but the 66, so I'll get rid of that. And you can see that the 5 winning numbers are still left here on the card, the 10, the 14, 50, 53, and 63. Okay? So for me, this drawing, I am going to pick that no gray numbers are going to come up. Okay, so here's the gray. You can see that it's been pretty hot through here. Hot and cold, and now I think the 0 is going to be, actually I have to fill this in from the last one. Why don't you take a look at this and try to guess where the 0 is going to be, okay? And now we're going to go up. We'll find out where it is, okay? So it was the 10, 14, so there's 2 blue. And then the 50, 53, so 2 gray and a yellow. So 2 blue, 2 gray, and a yellow. So down here you can see that there was no red numbers. 2 blue, no orange, no green, no purple, no brown, 2 gray, and a yellow. So how many was that? How many groups did it hit? 3 groups. And the majority of the numbers are over here to the right side, so we're going to make it green, okay? So you can see that there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros here, okay? So go ahead and pick which one you think is going to have the 0 to it. For me, I think it's going to be right here in this gray area, okay? So let me go ahead and take those numbers off, the 49 to the 56. So in this drawing, the 49 to the 56, it's the 50, and the 53 shares the square with the 69. So I'm going to get rid of the 53 as well. Okay, so again, I want to give you a chance to pick at home. Okay, again, there's only $600 million on the line, 625 mil. So go ahead and choose where you think that 0 is going to be. Pause the video if you need to. And X out those numbers. Again, for me, when it comes to the 50-50 picks, again, I chose that I think there's going to be more numbers to this low side here than the high, okay? So that means there's only going to be 2 numbers, if I'm correct, up here in the high side. Okay, so when I'm choosing, this is why I went with the gray area, okay? Because it's over here to the right side, okay? So moving on to number 3. Let me go up and make sure that you took off the correct colors here, okay? So moving on to number 3. Last drawing, if you could have picked that no blue numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct, okay? You could have gotten rid of this 1 and the 38 in the last drawing and got rid of the 54 and 62. You still see that the winning numbers are still on the game card here, okay? So for me, what I'm going to do, what looks really attractive here is this brown. And you can see it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them. You know, I think it's going to turn blue eventually here pretty soon, okay? So I'm going to keep my eye on that, but I'm going to pick that no red numbers are going to come up. So I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here, okay? So I'm going to get rid of the red numbers. And that's the 4 and the 37 for this drawing. And you can see that they're already gone, okay? So for you, let me scroll down here. You choose where that 0 is going to be. Pause the video if you need to. And eliminate that color group off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 4. Last drawing. If you could have chose that none of these green numbers were going to come up, you could see that they were pretty hot. Then it went on a wicked cold streak here. And now it's back to being hot. And now last drawing, you can see that none of those green numbers came up. Okay? So I'm going to eliminate those green numbers off of the last drawing. And that's the 29 and the 57. So I'll get rid of the 58 and 59. Okay, so you can still see that all the winning numbers are still here, the 10, 14, 50, 53, and 63. Okay, so for me, I'm going to say that none of those green numbers come up again. Again, you can see how hot things have been, okay? Except for that wicked cold streak there. But I'm going to say that the 0 is going to be right here as well. Okay? Hopefully that's going to happen. So I'm going to get rid of these green numbers. And the reason why I'm picking green is because I got some to the right side of the game card. And I get some to the high side, okay? So that's why I'm picking this one, all right? So again, I'm getting rid of the 30, 31, and all these numbers. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Actually, I want to give you a chance to pick. You can see how hot this yellow has been, okay? So maybe this yellow will go on a wicked blue streak. Who knows? Okay. So again, pause the video if you need to. Make a decision on where that 0 is going to be, and then eliminate that group of numbers off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 5. Again, I'm looking at the right side because I think that most of the numbers will be over here to the left side and low, okay? So, last drawing, if you could have picked that none of these yellow numbers were going to come up, you could have been correct, okay? You could have got rid of them. So you could have got rid of the 55, the 61, and the 64. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to choose that no brown is going to come up. Okay, so you can see they had a wicked streak right here. Then it got hot again, so now I think it's going to go on a cold streak again. So I think one of the 0s are going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of those brown numbers. Off of this. Okay, so like I said, I thought the majority of the numbers would be over here to the left side. Okay, so now for you at home, okay, make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be, okay? And folks, I got 15 of these option cards, so you don't have to choose every one. If you're looking at this and you're saying, geez, this thing's not giving me anything, then don't pick. Move on to the next one, okay? But again, I'm looking at this, and I see that from here down to here, it's been really red, okay? So that means that the majority of the numbers have been coming over here to the left side. So maybe a couple of 0s will be coming to this left side over here, okay? Which one? I'm not sure, okay? I chose the brown area. But for you, you might want to consider a 0 over on this side, okay? So make a decision. Pause the video if you need to, and then X out those numbers. Okay, so moving on to number 6. Last drawing. If you could have picked that none of these red numbers were going to come up. You see the 0 there? Okay. You could have gotten rid of them and gave yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. So last drawing, you're going to go with the 12, all right? And the 51, we'll take those away. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to choose that no green numbers are going to come up, okay? So you can see it got a little hot through here, okay? And now I just have a gut feeling that there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of those green numbers. And that's the 6, 13, 22, 29. So I'll get rid of the 6. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that I think all the 5 white winning Powerball numbers will be over here to this left side here. Okay? Okay, so moving on for you. Slowly creep down here. Okay, so make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Again, I see a lot of red over here. So maybe some 0s will be coming up over here on this left side. When I see something like this, well, maybe there's going to be a couple of hits coming up here on this gray. So let's say one of these grays hit here. Then that means I think that 1, 10, 17, 26, 33, 42, 49, or 68 will be coming up, okay? And since the majority of the numbers I think are going to be low, I'm looking at either the 10 or the 26, okay? Might be coming up here. Okay, so again, let me make sure that you get your chance to pick where that 0 is going to be. Pause the video if you need to. And X out that group of numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 7. Last drawing. If you could have picked that no gray numbers were going to come up. Okay, you could have been correct and gave yourself a better chance at winning some kind of prize. And that's the 9, 2, 11, 4 all the way across for last drawing. So that's the 13 and 15. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to pick that no brown numbers are going to come up. Okay, so you can see that, you know, it's been kind of like 50-50 here. So I just think the 0 is going to be right here. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to get rid of those brown numbers. And that's the 1, 10, 3, 12 all the way across. So I'll just get rid of the 10. And that's it. Okay, now for you at home, you can see how hot this green and orange were. The green just kind of stayed hot. So maybe it's time for this green to have a bunch of 0s coming up to it, okay? So make a decision. Pick where you think one of those 3 0s will be. Pause the video if you need to. And X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 8. Last drawing. If you could have picked that no yellow numbers were going to come up. Again, you could have eliminated all those numbers and gave yourself a much better chance. So it's the 4, 9, 20, 65. And the last drawing, 4, 9, 20, 65, 4, 9, 20. Get rid of the 52. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to go with yellow as well. So you can just see how hot it's been, okay? And now I think that there's going to be a line of blue here, okay? So I'm going to go with the yellow, and that's the 4, 9, 20, 65. Okay, so I'm getting down here on my side here. Okay, so for you at home, okay, take a guess on where you think one of those 3 zeros will be. Again, you can see how red this is over here. Okay, so maybe the majority of the zeros will be over here on this side. This red is looking pretty attractive. Okay. So again, pause the video if you need to. And X out that color group. Okay, moving on to 9. Last drawing. If you would have picked that no green was going to come up. You can see how hot things have been. Okay, you can see where that 0 was. Okay. So last drawing was the 465 on the left side and 324 on the right side. I thought I said 3. 1324. Okay, so you can see that I'm going to get rid of the 56. Okay, so for this drawing, number 9, I'm going to go with green as well. Again, you can just see how hot things got. And now I think the 0 is going to be right here. One of them anyways. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the green area. The 465, 1324. And you can see that there's nothing there for me to get rid of. Okay, but for you at home, okay, guess where that 0 is going to be? Pause the video if you need to. And X out that color group. Okay, so moving on to 10. Last drawing. If you could have chose that no red numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct. You could have gotten rid of the 112 all the way around. That pattern all the way around. Got rid of the 16. And that's it. Okay. So here's the winning numbers. The 10, 14, 50. I'm not sure why that 19 is still there. I think I should have got rid of it somewhere. But again, it's the 10, 14, 50, 53, and 63. Okay. So you can see that the 53 and 69 share that square, so I can't get rid of them unless they were different colors. Okay, you can see that the 53 and 69 are red. Okay, so you would have had to make a guess that this 69 wasn't going to come up. Okay, so moving on to mine. Okay, for this drawing, number 10, I'm going to say that no purple numbers are going to come up. I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of the 10, 27 all the way around here. I'll get rid of the 27. And for you at home, You can see this gray, how hot it's been, okay? So maybe a 0 might come up here, okay? Make a decision, pause the video if you need to, and then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to 11. I'm all done with last week's drawing, so for me, I'm going to pick gray. I'm going to pick that as 0. We'll come up in the gray area. If you did that the last drawing, you would have been correct, okay? So the gray is the 3, 24, 38, and 49. So I'll get rid of that 11. And that's it. So now I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 myself, okay? And what I'm going to do is, when I go back to this individual numbers here, I think it's going to be another 3, because I haven't seen like 3 3s in a row in a while. Okay. So I think that's kind of due to happen. Here's one with 4 3s to it. Okay. So I'm going to pick that it's going to be the 18, 19, 26, 34, and 35. Okay, so I'm going to say that the 67 is not going to come up, okay? And this will give me that 3 group, the 18, 19 in one group, the 26 in another, and the 34 and 35 in another, okay? So either that, or I could get rid of the 26 and put the 67 in there. I could move these 6 numbers all around and spend a bunch of money getting every single combination that I can, okay? I might do that, but I don't want to spend all that much money, so I'm going to go with these numbers right here, the 18, 19, 26, 34, 35. Okay, but for you at home, let me head on down. You can see how much red has been over here. Okay, so maybe the green is going to start coming out here, which means lots of zeros over here to this left side. Okay, so pause the video if you need to, and then X out those numbers off your game card. Okay, moving on to 12. This is just for you at home. Okay, so you can see how hot this gray has been. So maybe the 0 will be here at the gray. Okay, make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Pause the video if you need to. And then X out those numbers off of your game card. Okay, moving on to 13. This is just for you here. You can see that this red has been really hot, so maybe the 0 will be right here, okay? Pause the video if you need to. Make a decision and X out those numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to 14. You can see how hot this gray's been, okay? You see a bunch of green over here. Okay, so make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Then X out those numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to 15. Okay, you can see how hot this red and orange has been. You see how much red has been over here, so maybe a bunch of zeros are going to be coming up over here, okay? Again, pause the video if you need to. Make a decision on where you think that zero is going to be, and eliminate that group of numbers off of your game card. Okay, so again, for me, I'm going to go with the 18, 19, 26, 34, 35, okay? Another reason why I was going to say that this 67 looks high, but it's actually in the low area. So when I go back to the 50 picks here, you can see that even though it's low, the 67 is in the blue area, which is considered low, okay? So, all right, so that's about it. Okay, I just want to go over the odds, okay? The odds of getting all 5 white balls correct and the red ball gets the grand prize, and that's $625 million this drawing, okay? To do that, that's 1 in 292 million odds, okay? To get all 5 white ball numbers, that's my goal, okay? The odds of doing that is 1 in 11,688,000, okay? This is a really good prize, $50,000 if you get the 4 numbers in the right Powerball number. The odds of doing that are just about 1 in a million. And then for realistic odds, getting 4 white ball numbers or 3 in the Powerball will pay you $100. That's 1 in 14,000. And if you could get 3 white ball numbers or 2 white ball numbers in a red ball, that will pay you $7, or yeah, $7, and that's just about 1 in 700. Okay, so they always say that play responsibly. I just want you to know that if you spend $3 per drawing, that will equal $312 per year. Okay, so in closing, I just want to thank you for watching. Okay, if you'd like to support my channel, please go to my Patreon page. www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.